Okie dokie. Welcome anyone, maybe no one, to this live stream. I have this Xbox One X and it is not outputting video. The customer mentioned he had the cable plugged in and he transported the console, and the console sort of moved around in the car, and when he went to inspect, the cable was just completely broken off, the HDMI cable. So it's possible the port has had some damage, but I can't see much damage on the outside of the port. There's a little bit of wear on the plastic membrane in the middle of the port, but it doesn't look like any of the pins are actually damaged. So it's probably the port has become dislodged on the inside, which means that we may be able to just reuse this port and solder those pins back down. The other thing it could be is actually not a port. It could in fact be the retimer IC, and it could be a complete coincidence. I have actually seen situations like that before. The customer thinks, yep, it's the port, but it ends up being the retimer. So we're going to crack this thing open, maybe just check out the port first, and then if that all looks good, we can retest. If it still doesn't work, maybe we'll try a retimer IC. So I'm just going to get myself prepared here and have a sip of my coffee, which is now pretty cold, but that's the way it is. Okay, so first things first, we need to open this thing. Looks like it has never been opened before, which is always nice. So grab a pair of tweezers and we'll just peel this sticker back. Just like so. Now we've got one screw on the right here, one screw on the left. I actually do kind of like how the One X's go together. It's the One S's I really hate taking apart. That bloody case clip. Okay, so with that, we should be able to slide this cover. And sometimes they are a bit finicky. This one's going to be finicky. There we go. Just got to unhook it. Okay, next we'll just take these I/O panels off. Okay, let's take these shell screws out so we can take the other side off. Right, that should allow us to get the other side off. Not too dusty, I've seen worse. I mean, it's kind of bad on the side. Actually, it's really bad on one side. Still, not the worst I've seen. Yep, this has definitely not been opened before because it's got that factory tightness to it. There we go. Free dust. Awesome. I'm just going to actually use the duster to get rid of some of this stuff, otherwise it's going to end up all over me and the desk. I'll just use one of these AliExpress specials, rechargeable duster. Got sick of buying cans of air. It's just a bit ridiculous, really. Okie doke. Much better. Now we can keep taking this thing the rest of the way apart. So, got lots of screws on the bottom here. And they're all very factory tight. Hard drive as well. Usually when I'm in these consoles doing other work, I test the hard drive externally anyway, just to see what its condition is, what its health is. Although I did see the console boot up, so that's a good sign. Hard drive's probably okay. But sometimes they, they start to develop bad blocks and might be worth bringing to the customer's attention. Some of these screws are really on there. The first time taking these screws out in a console that hasn't been opened before is like a workout in and of itself. Holy shit, that one's really in there. That one was just really in there for some reason. Okay, that's all the screws. Now we're going to be careful because all the guts are going to try and fall out. So flip it over. Move that slightly forward. take out our PSU here. I try to take this fan assembly with the, the PSU attached out in one go. So I'll just disconnect the optical drive here. And our fan. And this will just come out as one unit if it doesn't get stuck. And it's going to get stuck. Okay. There we go. Oh, a bit of dust build up there, actually. And of course, the hard drive. Just going to put these out of the way. Right, so motherboard can come out now. I'm going to clean that dust off because again, I don't want that all over my desk. Awesome. Now I need to find my special screwdriver. I always use this one particular screwdriver for getting this X clamp off. We need to remove this heatsink because our HDMI port is here and we don't really have the access unless we get this thing out of the way. So I'm just checking to see if there's any wiggle on the port. I mean, it doesn't seem to be, but I have seen, the pins become loose even when the entire socket is still on there. Alright, so let's get this clamp off. The screwdriver is just amazing. Just makes it a breeze. Okay. Beauty. Let's connect my scope back up. Let's see if it's going to work today. Sometimes my microscope camera is temperamental. It is happy today, which is good. So let me get this set up. Really do need to get a new microscope arm. This thing is just horrible. Okay, so let's just check these pins. I've lost the rubber to my microscope. There we go. Let's check these pins and see if they are attached to the board properly or not. Like that. That's a bit loose. I don't know if that's normal. I don't think I've noticed that before. Right, so all these pins are actually okay. Nothing's broken loose. This is a tough call. The port doesn't really look damaged. Just trying to have a good look just off camera here. I mean, it's slightly damaged, but would that really cause the problem? I don't know. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the port. And if that doesn't work, I do have retimers in stock, and I guess I'll have to put a retimer on. So that's pretty much all we can do. Try one first, and I'm gonna go with the HDMI port just because the customer said that the cable completely broke off on it, and there is a little bit of damage, but as I said, not to the pins, but it's possible that yeah, it's put too much strain on the port, and there's something that I can't see that's going on there, so I'm just gonna replace it and see what happens after that. Yep, alright. I think that's the plan of attack. Turn the soldering iron on. I'm just going to start by bridging all of the pins on the HDMI port. That'll just make sure that it comes out a lot smoother. Need to adjust this camera. Alright. So we'll grab some solder. And let's make a mess of this on purpose. Pretty much like that. Add some flux. And now we're ready to get this thing removed. Alright. So I just need to grab my roll of Captain Tape. Just because this board doesn't sit on its own, kind of wobbles, so I generally just put something there just to hold it in place. Okay. So I'm going to remove all nozzles. I'm going to do 480 degrees, 50% airflow. Don't be afraid, these boards take a lot of heat, so just focus on getting it off quickly. Add a bit of flux there. This is still wobbling. Bloody annoying. Need something else. Yeah, let's grab this brush. There we go. I just don't want it to wobble. I'm going to grab my ceramic tweezers. I'm going to put a glove on as well. Because sometimes, even with the ceramic tweezers, the handle does get pretty hot. I mean, it is 480 degrees, so let's be real, that is pretty hot. So I'm just going to start by heating up the area, and the port will drop out when it's ready. And just give it the occasional tap. but you certainly don't want to rip it off the board, pull it off the board. It does take a bit of time because these boards do take a lot of heat. Any day now. And it is coming loose. And there it is. One freshly removed HDMI port. Nice and gentle. Let's move that off somewhere where it's not going to scald me. Now while the board is still warm, I'm going to use my desoldering gun just to clear these holes. Many people have many different methods to do this. You could technically heat this area up and like drop a new port in there from upside down. I tend to take my time with it. So I'm just going to heat this up again and use my desoldering gun to suck the solder out of the mounting holes. Almost there. It's amazing how these boards just take 480 degrees like it's nothing. I'm actually going to go with 60% airflow. I want to push it down into the board a bit more. Alright, that's all cleared up. Let's just let that cool down for a second. And then we can put the new port on, which, speaking of new ports, I should get one. 1X, 1X, 1X. Alright, there's our new port. So let's just have a look. Yep, everything good. It's all good. As you can see, we have no ripped pads. Yay! So I'm just going to refresh these pads with a bit of leaded solder. Honestly, you can wick it away and do all of that stuff. I don't really bother with that because it's not like the solder's totally useless. It's just about how well you attach the joints. But I just go ahead and refresh it. Where's my brush? My magic brush. Okay, lovely. Now, what I generally do, which is probably overkill, but again gives you good quality work, is I just tin these pins. I've already done it on this connector, or this might be a pull from the supplier, so a brand new connector that they pull from a console, but yeah, I may have pre-tinned this, I can't quite remember. But anyway, that's pretty much what you want, ready to go. So, what I like to do first is drop the port in. Make sure everything's nice and aligned, and I actually tack down some of these pins here first before I do the mounting legs. That just keeps the alignment perfect, and you can see that that is really nice. That's what we want. So let's just tack a few of these down. It does keep dipping forward, so I kind of need to push it down like this. That's one. And two. You gotta be very, very, very careful not to accidentally knock this port off, otherwise you're gonna have ripped pads. I'm just gonna change my soldering tip now over to something a bit more beefy. So I've got a K tip here. I usually actually use the KU tip, but I burnt it out, so. And it looks like I need some new ceramic tweezers as well, because the tip on those just broke. Awesome. Oh well, I do have to do a part order and get some materials, so I guess I'll be adding in some ceramic tweezers. So let's change this tip. Okay, we're on the K tip. Set my temperature. Okay, so now that I've got a beefier tip, I'm going to flip the board over carefully, and I'm just going to solder those anchor points down. And once again, I need my roll of tape. And we'll grab some flux here. Just make sure the port's not at an angle, so you can lightly press against it to make sure it's flat against the board. And then solder these up. I'm just going to turn on my fume extraction, so I apologise if it's a bit loud. Need to wait for it to open. It's got one of those automatic closing shutters. Any second now. There it goes. It's actually a bathroom exhaust that I just kind of mounted in here. Cut a hole through the workshop. It works. It's probably not the greatest, but it's better than nothing. Okay, let's clean that up, and I'll show you what I've done. Now, you don't have to do this, but this is what I do. Just to add some extra strength to these mounting holes, because they're all ground anyway, so ground, ground, ground. I just join them together like this to make sure that they can't like pop loose as easy. And that's on there nice and solidly. So, just check the alignment is all good. Everything looks good. So now, it's just a matter of soldering up these pins, really. And for that, I am going to swap back over to the C1 tip, because I just love the C1 tip for doing any pins. So C1. Alright, so flux it up. I feel like this is going to be a retimer for some reason. I don't know why, but let's find out. Sorry, you guys aren't even in view. What I see in the microscope directly is not what comes up on the camera. The view range is different. Little naughty bridge there. I'll come back to that. God, my brain is begging me for a coffee. Well, a second coffee. The first one basically did nothing. Alright, let's clean up that bridge. That's very annoying. Where is my goot wick? I tried some generic desoldering braid from AliExpress, and it was bloody horrendous. So now I just use the goot wick, only the goot wick. Okay, let's just go over these one more time. I'm also using some Kingo flux, and it's not the greatest flux in the world, but it is definitely cheaper. I got like 20 pieces for $30 or something. It's pretty crazy. No, don't you bridge. What's my iron set incorrectly at the temperature? Why? This is what happens when I don't have more than 3 cups of coffee. Bit of wick stuck there. Yeah, great. The thing that sucks about cheap flux is that you can't get good visibility. It just kind of clouds up like that. But I think we're looking pretty good. I will just test these to make sure that there's no bridge in case there's something that's gone behind there, which would be very annoying. But it all looks pretty good, so let's just lightly push on each of these, make sure that they are soldered down. Alright, looks pretty good. Just going to use some warm air to dry that off a bit. And I'm just going to add a bit of solder to these mounting holes on this side, because I can. Of course, I'm going to use a different tip for that. This is where having a better soldering station with like really, you know, quick hot swappable tips would be great for my workflow, because I'd like to change tips 2 or 3 times while doing repairs. But just working with what I have at the moment. Doesn't need to be the prettiest flower in the garden bed. It does need to be strong and practical though, better than factory, as Northridge Fix would say. It's always a bit hard to get this front one. I've just soldered the side of it. It's too hard to get that one sometimes. But I like to anchor it down as much as possible, because people seem to put a lot of strain on these ports. So it's not cooperating with me today. There we go. I knew we could do it. And on this side, the other way you can do it is like with the Series X ports and the PS5 ports, you can just flow it through from the other side, but I don't like subjecting the board to unnecessary heat if I can help it. Too high for this iron. Let's drop that down a bit. There we go. That one went well. Just that other side didn't want to cooperate with me. Alright, let's do some cleaning. And no, this is not water, this is isopropyl alcohol, so it is safe. Beautiful. Now let's just double check, because I did accidentally bridge a couple of pins there which I had to clear, so I'll just make sure that we don't have anything going on that we don't want. It's going to that BGA package. Alright, so everything seems good. Happy days. Just give everything a final rinse here. So if this port doesn't work now, it's going to be the retimer IC that is bad. I know that this system works because I did see that glimmer of video, so it's either going to be one of these two things most likely. I don't think it'll be anything else. And just clean up the back as well. Beautiful. Well, I mean, it's a little bit ugly, but it's strong. That's the point. So let's put this console back together, or at least partially put it back together. So we're going to do this thermal paste. So I just use some isopropyl wipes. This stuff goes pretty crusty anyway, so most of the time you can just scrape it off. But we're going to apply some new Arctic Silver 5. Nice and clean. And I'll just clean the dye off. Honestly, look, they just squirt this crap everywhere. So, you know, it's not really necessary to clean it all off. just clean the die and apply some fresh paste evenly. I used to be so compulsive, you know, in terms of cleaning off every little bit of thermal paste there, but it makes absolutely no difference. And that stuff was going to be like that even if I didn't open this console. So, you know, it's just not worth the time to go doing that. Now I need to find my thermal paste, and I did see it before. Here it is. So I'm just going to add a line and then spread that around evenly. Okay, I'm just going to wipe that pry stick off. Cool. So now we can put our heatsink back on, and yeah, I just don't touch any of these thermal pads. It's like, it's not even thermal pads, it's like thermal goop. I don't know exactly what it is. I tried figuring that out a while ago and I just couldn't figure out what it is that they actually use. It's some kind of paste that they just squirt on there and it turns into that thermal compound. So I'm not really sure. It's a mix between like thermal paste and a thermal pad. I just call it thermal goop. So place that down, flip our board over, install our clamp. This can be a pain in the ass sometimes. Okay. And some of them don't want to just clip on, so you need to give them a little bit of persuasion. I've actually never had this much problem putting it on. What is going on here? There we go. Just that one corner didn't want to go on. Of course, of course. Alright. All in place. Let's grab the base. Slide that in. Let's see how our port looks. Looks like a HDMI port. Cool. That's not sitting perfectly. Now it's sitting perfectly. Great. Grab the hard drive. I'm not going to check the hard drive just yet. I'm just going to fire this thing up Let's see how we go. First, okay, fan and power supply assembly. Now, I'm probably not going to be very lucky getting that aligned, am I? But I'm going to try anyway. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it wants to be a dick. Okay, and this one's gonna be a dick. Oh, almost got it in. It's gotta fall into these two holes at the bottom. It's really stupid. It's almost there. But it's not quite there, so. We're gonna have to play the hard way. Okay, fan. And let's get our optical drive in there. And power supply. Right, that in fact is all we need for testing, just this power button board. Alright, I'm just going to do a test first. So console is on. Fan is spinning. And yeah, still nothing on the display. So it's kind of as I suspected. That port didn't look too damaged, and it's just by coincidence a retimer. It is possible that there is flux in the port, so I'll just clean that out quickly and check. But yeah, I had a feeling this was going to be a bloody retimer. I don't know why those retimers are just so shit. Clean my microscope cable as well. Let's try that again. Yeah, this looks like a retimer. Black screen, flashes on, flashes off, black screen. It's the bloody retimer. Just having a good look at that old port. Yeah, it just does not really seem to be the problem. I'll just try another TV, because I know that this HDMI cable is also getting shitty, because I always plug it into like 100 consoles. Alright, I'm just going to do this over on the other bench. Oh, yep, I just saw the fuzzy green screen. That is 100% an encoder, retimer. Oh, man. Why? Why couldn't it just be a nice straightforward HDMI port for once? Okay. Alright. Fine. I'll just do, I mean, it's probably not going to be, but I'll just try and reset the video. There's that low resolution mode. The console, I've noticed, doesn't want to turn on consistently either. So there's definitely, I mean, multiple things to suggest it could be the encoder. And now it just turned itself off. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can't even show you because it goes bad, but yeah, I got like a glimmer of video, then it went to like a fuzzy green screen, and now it's just flashing black. It's the bloody retimer, so I'm not going to waste any more time saying it's the retimer. It's time to change the retimer. So perhaps somehow the port was shorted out and killed the retimer, or it's a pure coincidence. I'm not sure. But I do have retimers in stock, so I guess we'll get on to doing a retimer now. That's just stupidly annoying. Mate, could you just come out? Honestly. Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation. Don't know why I'm having so much difficulty with this clamp. I mean, usually I do not have this much difficulty with it. There we go. Right. Bloody retimer. I don't know why these things fail so much in the series, in the 1X. Just waiting for my camera to come back. My camera is very moody on my microscope. There we go. So, the problem is going to be this little bastard here. Okay. Alrighty. Let me find the correct nozzle. I think I usually use that one. I think I usually do 450 degrees at 50% airflow. Yep, the good old TDP 158. Alright. Flux. Okay, so that is our old one. And I'm suddenly getting spammed by Wendy. Hi, I have a remote works vacancy. Should you want to know more? No, block contact. I don't know where these people are getting my Telegram info, but I keep getting all these spam messages. Oh man. TDP 158. I actually need to order more of these. Alright, so I'm just going to move the board over. Because I just like to prepare this chip. There's our new one. Looking good, looking good. And I'm just going to put this in a jig. Many are going to say this is totally unnecessary, but I just like to do it to make sure that everything is nice and tinned up and we have good connections. Just makes life easier when we go to put this down. So much like I did with the HDMI port, and just add a little smidge to the ground in the middle. That's all we need. All right. And I need to just clean the top of this because I can't actually see where the dot is for pin number 1. There it is. Cool. Radical, dude. So let's grab this chip. Let's have a look at these pads. Might fare well to just tidy that up as well. Just gonna bump my iron temp up a bit. I'm not changing tips again. Changed too many times. Right, so what I generally do is just heat up the area first, drop this down, and then flow it the rest of the way in place. Because if I just start flowing air now, it's just going to basically expose the chip to all of that heat all of the time. So preheating is kind of the way that I like to go. Try to grab this right on the edge like that. Alright, let's do it. Oh, hold on, I need to move this cable out of the way. Just warm the chip up a bit from a distance. Okay, see, that's just tacked in place. Obviously that's not how it's supposed to sit on the board, but now we'll add some flux and we'll flow it into place and watch the magic happen. Alright, give it a little nudge. So that's now aligned itself. Let it cool for a moment, push down on it, and last flow. Hold it there. And let off. Now I actually do want to use my C1 tip because I'm doing those pins. Alright, so while the board is still warm, flux. I do use a lot of flux because I believe in the power of the flux. So now we'll just clean these up. And look at that. That's just beautiful. Just turn the board around. Alright, and clean it up. seems not too bad, but just not sure about that little alignment there. Should be alright. Alright, let's give that a try. If it doesn't work, I'll just go over that IC one more time. It's also possible, like it's very rare, but I have received faulty ICs as well. I'm pretty confident that HDMI port is all fine. The only other thing it could be, if it doesn't end up being the retimer and the port, is maybe that little ESD package near the port. I don't know. I doubt it. Never had that thing go bad. Maybe once. Just gonna top that up a little bit. Let's see what we get. Maybe I'll start with that corner. Oh yeah, that's much better. There you go. Started with the corner that was a pain in the ass, and everything worked out. Okay, let's see how we go. Will this be the 1X from hell? Stay tuned to find out. There's probably a better way of doing this, but until I figure it out, this is how I do it. Hard drive. Console won't show any video without a hard drive on the Xbox, which is absurd, but that's how it is, so we need the hard drive. And I don't actually think we need the optical drive, but I'm just going to put it in anyway. Keep this console happy. Please work, I want to go have a coffee. Okay, that already looks better. The console's light comes on straight away. Let's see what we get. And we do have video. There it is. Once again, another retimer IC. Bloody Xbox One X's. Alright, so that is working. I can't show you because it's got customer information on the screen, but it is indeed working. Let me see if I can just sync the controller. Actually, I think I already synced it before, so let's see if I can sign out maybe. Skip sign in. Right, so here we are. Everything seems to be working out alright. This monitor is 1080p, so we have 1080p. So yeah, I think it was actually the retimer and not the port that was the problem. I mean, as I said, even though the port looked a little bit weird, I think it was still mostly alright. But since the job is done, you know, everything is working, the new port's in, the new retimer's in, I'll just bill accordingly for that. And yeah, call that a bit of an annoying job, but sometimes it does happen where you need to do both. I probably could have just gotten away with just doing the retimer, but again, since that port doesn't look that great, it's probably better that I've done both anyway. Now it's fully good to go, so I'm just gonna grab my copy of Halo 5. Just make sure that this disc is working. So I sometimes get this wrong. So this is actually the bottom of the console, so I got to insert this upside down, I believe. So that's the way you'd normally put it in. Let's see if it does pick up Halo 5. And yes, it does. Halo 5. Now, I'm not going to let it install because it actually downloads a lot of stuff. I think it's like 40 gigs of content. So we'll just eject that. And the intake of the disk and eject is working beautifully. So that's awesome. No issues there. So the last thing that I'm going to do is just, I'll just power this thing off. Funny fact is most people end up going turn off console here, right, and then unplugging it. Technically not the correct way. You've actually got to go into settings, power options, and then well, actually that's changed. This is, what dashboard version is this? Hold on a second, that usually says full shutdown. This must be an old dash. I'm not making this up, I swear to God. That usually says full shutdown. That's really weird. And I'm going to prove it. If I can just find an image. Yeah, this menu is different. How weird is that? So there's probably a dashboard update, I'm assuming. So if you have a look here, this is what it normally looks like. Yes, I accept cookies. Power mode and startup. But yeah, when I look at this one, it just says power options. So that's different. So I'm just gonna go with the shutdown now. I actually need to connect the Wi-Fi adapter in order to do any system updates here. So I'll do that, check for a dash update, because that's probably why the menu options have changed. But usually, if you want to do a full shutdown, you have to go into the settings and power and whatever energy options, what was it? Power mode and startup, and then full shutdown to completely shut down the console. Otherwise, it just goes into like a standby state generally. So I think the hard drive can still be spinning in that state. So let's connect our Wi-Fi adapter there. Yeah, and look at this, the light comes on straight away. Before I'd push it, there'd be a delay and then the light would come on. And it turned itself off before, so there was definitely something weird about that old retimer. Alright, Booting back up. Loading, loading, loading. And I can just connect to my Wi-Fi. There's probably going to be a dash update. Alright, let's I'll just sign out of this account. It's set to automatically sign in. I just don't want to display any names or usernames. Alright, so that's signed out. So if we go into network settings, go to our guest account here. I'm just going to switch away just in case it shows any information. Oh, great. Looks like Xbox is having a problem at the moment. Your network is good, but there's some service issues. Sorry, there's a problem on our side. Are you kidding me? Now it says all services are available. Okay, make up your mind, Microsoft. Go to System, Updates. No update available. Yeah, I don't know, is this the new dash? Why is that option different? It's totally different to this one, what it normally is. Maybe they improved this because it was kind of confusing before. Anyway, forget all that. Guess it doesn't matter anymore. So that is pretty much it. Now I just need to reassemble the rest of the console and maybe test a game or two, and I'll just go and test that it works on a 4K TV as well, and then that's a job done. So thanks for watching this live stream. Hope that was entertaining. Yeah, I don't know what it is about these Xbox One X's, but their retimers just die like flies. So I'm actually going to order some more stock now. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you guys need a fix, techbuddy.net.au, subscribe, leave some comments, all that, and I'll catch you in the next video /